So you need to just understand this. Fine. So the software development lifecycle is a systematic approach to develop, test, and deliver the softwares. Okay. So this term is very, very important. Systematic. So what is the meaning of systematic? It is a scientific. Okay. Whenever there is a term called systematic, the other terminology we should get in our mind is scientific approach. Okay, so it is a systematic approach to develop, test, and deliver the software. Got it, right? So if somebody asks you what is software development life cycle, you can just tell that it is a systematic approach to develop, test, and deliver the softwares. Okay, it consists of multiple phases. Fine. So a lot of people will say that it has many phases. I mean, it has 6 different phases. Okay, don't tell 6, 5, 4. Okay, you should just tell that it has multiple phases. Fine. The first one is requirement gathering. Second is project planning. Third is project design. Fourth is coding. Fifth is testing, and next is release and maintenance. Release and maintenance. So these are the different phases of software development life cycle. These are the different phases of software development life cycle. So let us understand now, okay, the each and every phase in detail. Right? The first one is requirement gathering phase. First one is requirement gathering phase. What is the meaning of that? So see an example, if we want to develop something, if we want to automate something, say an example, we have a XYZ bank. Got it? We have a XYZ bank. We want everything to be automated, which are okay running in the business. I mean, which are running in a bank. It can be opening an account. It can be a money transfer. It can be keeping FD. It can be doing RD. It can be okay. It can be anything, any activity which is done physically. If we want to automate it, then we will develop a software. We are going to develop a software. You can hear me, right?
Yes.
All right. So if the voice is breaking, right, let me know. Fine.
Yes.
Okay. So now the first phase is software development. The first phase of software development lifecycle is requirement gathering. So what we will do is whenever any client that is considered now bank want to automate its entire process. You might be remembering when we were kids, if we want money, our parents used to go to bank and they used to spend 3-4 hours just to withdraw. Even 100 rupees, 1000 or 10,000 rupees, it used to take 2-3 hours. But nowadays we can do it okay at one fingertip, no need of going to bank. So what we'll have is our client will have a requirement. Okay, so these are the things I want to automate. So for that, what we will do is we are going to go to that particular bank and try to understand what is the requirement. What is the requirement? Understood? So that who will do it? Who will be doing that requirement gathering? The business analyst team. There is a team called as business analyst team. Okay, you should also, I mean, you also keep a book and a notebook. I mean, a notebook
Yes.
and a pen so that you can write
Yes.
some points. Okay,
Yes.
so the business analyst, right? What they are going to do is they are going to communicate with the with the client to understand the requirement very clearly. So once the sign up is done, fine. So the business analyst team will go to the client place, or they will interact over a phone, or a just we are doing, right? We'll set a meeting with the client and we will try to get the requirements. That is, the business analyst will try to get the requirements, understand the requirements. Once the requirements are understood, okay, what they will do is they will prepare a document. They will prepare a document. Understood? Fine. So in the requirement gathering phase, right, they will prepare a document. We call that document as, I will just write here so that you can see. We call it as FRS, functional requirement specification document. Functional requirement specification. Okay, specification document. This document is basically prepared by, okay, the business analyst team. So the client will be not involved in preparation, because he will just narrate, he will just tell what are the requirement he needs, but rest everything the business analyst will prepare. So once this document is prepared, so basically this document, right, is a part of SRS document. This is SRS, okay. SRS is software requirement specification document. I will come in detail, but right now you just understand what are the phases. Later on, I will tell you each and everything. What is SRS, what is FRS, what is NFRS, what is BRS. So there are a lot of terminologies are there, so that we can understand in detail later. But right now you understand the first phase of software development lifecycle is requirement gathering phase. In this phase, the business analyst team will collect all the requirement of the client, and then they will convert that requirement to functional requirement specification document. That is, okay, again, client requirement itself in detail they will prepare, and we call it as functional requirement document. Understood? So once that is done, once the requirement document is prepared, the next phase is project planning. The next phase is project plan. So what exactly we do in project plan? Who will be involved in, okay, project planning phase? Okay, so the main signatory, see, there might be multiple people who will be working in this particular phase. There might be n number. Okay, there might be 4, 5, 6. But who is responsible for planning? The project manager. Understood? So generally what we will do, what we will tell is the project manager of that particular project will prepare the project plan document. Okay, the project manager will be involved in preparing the project plan document. Now, fine, you have understood, right? How do he, I mean, how he will prepare, how he will plan. So there are three important things he will, okay, analyze. One is real time. One is real time schedule. It is real time schedule. Real time schedule, that is how much time we require and how many resources we need. Okay, that is how many people we need, okay, to complete this project. And real time budget, that is how much money we need. Okay, how much money we need, real time budget we call it as, right? Real time schedule, resource allocation, and real time budget. So these are the three important keys that the project manager will look into. Fine. Once this is ready, Once this is ready, we say that project planning is completed successfully. Project planning is completed successfully. Once this is done, we will be involved in doing project design. Project design. So what is the meaning of project design? Here in project designing phase, right, what we will do, we will prepare the backend of the application, the structure of the backend. Okay, the structure of the backend. We are going to prepare the structure of the backend. I think there is, we don't have a notes on this. Anyways, I'll be giving you. Okay, so what is project designing? The process of designing the structure of the backend is called as project design. Fine. The process of preparing the structure of the backend. Now, what is the meaning of this? So I'll just show you. So this is your front end. Okay, front end means, okay, you can see the banking application like ICICI Bank. Fine. So here is your ICICI application that you can see. You can log in and other things. Okay, we call this as front end. Okay, we call this as front end. Able to understand?
Yes.
Okay, I mean to say that whenever I open a browser, right, and I can start using the application, the front part to the customer, which is seen, is the front end. Okay, so now there will be one more layer. We call it as middle layer or logical layer, we can call it as. Okay, logical layer. So here the developers will store, okay, all our code. Fine, all our code, and we call it as logical layer. So we call it as logical layer. So here we will be having, so again, don't be okay scared of these terminologies. Application server, so these are very new to you, but don't worry, you will understand slowly. You'll understand slowly. So application server will be there and web server will be there. So, and there will be one more. Fine, there will be one more layer which is called as backend. Okay, this is backend. So here all our data will be stored. Okay, we call it as database, DB. Okay, you can just see all these terminologies. What is web server? What is application server? What is database? You can just Google and see. Okay, so that you will understand. Just read basics. What is database? What is web server? What is application server? Okay, then you will understand better. Okay, fine, got it, right? So here all the data will be stored. Here all the data will be stored in the database. Like whatever activity you do every day, like say an example, you are using a Facebook, you have uploaded one of a photo today. So where it will be stored? In the database. Understood? It will be stored in database. You have commented something, or you have posted, you have written something. So in Facebook, that will be again stored in the database. But user can see in the front end, but it will be stored in database. Understood? So this is so how do we store it? First, what we need to do is we need to design it. So what we are going to do is we are going to construct the structure of the backend, and we call it as project designing phase. Okay. So once this is done, we'll have coding part. We'll have coding. That is, the developer will start writing the code using some technology, using some programming language like Java, .NET. We have C Sharp, we have PHP, we have Python. There are a lot of programming languages are there nowadays. So using those programming languages, they will be writing the source code. So what exactly they write in the source code? They write logics, they design front end, they connect. Okay, all these three layers. See, अगर हमने ये तीन layer बना दिया, and there should be some connection. It is just like our face, okay, and our ear and our eye, or this is our brain. So there should be some connection. Okay, so how do we do it? By writing the code. Right? We'll develop the logic and then we will connect it through these three layers, and we call it as, okay, coding. This part is done, okay, in coding. So who will do it? Developer will do it. So project designing, who will do? The developers and the database developers. Project designing is done by the architect, database developer, and the software developers. Right? They will coordinate, all these three teams will coordinate, and then they are going to develop it. Okay, so but coding is completely done by the software developers, that is the programming language coders, we can call it as. Once the coding is done, then our part will come, that is testing. Fine. So what we do is we test the application which is developed by the developer. So what they will do is they will do all the activities. They will develop the front end, they will develop the logical layer, and then they will develop the database, give the connection, right? So give the connection, and after that, okay, once the connection is given, then who will test it? The testing team will test it. Fine. The testing team will test it. So at the time of testing, right, we'll have all the different approaches just to break the application. Okay, हम क्या करेंगे? We will try to find out the mistakes. We will try to find out the mistakes of the development team. Got it? So why? Because our job is to deliver a quality software. Our job is to deliver a quality software. So once the testing is done, then what we do is we give the approval for the release. Okay, we give the approval for the release. Got it? For the release. So this is, okay, once the approval is given from our team, that is testing team, the release will be done and it will go to the maintenance phase. Right? So this is what the software development life cycle is all about. See, you might have understood everything is a cycle. You do whatever in this world, it has a life cycle. Okay. In the same way, to develop the software also, to develop the applications also, we have a life cycle. That is, first what we do is we analyze the requirement, we gather the requirement. Fine. Once the requirement is gathered, the project planning will be done. I'll come in detail about these things later, but as of now, you understand this much. And then we'll do project design, coding. In coding, the developer will write a code. Testing, that is, we'll test the application which is developed by the developer, and then we are going to do a release and maintenance. Fine. So this is how we do it. You have understood this point, right?
Yes.
Okay, we have understood the life cycle. Any doubts on this?
No.
Because this is fundamental. This is the basic thing that you need to understand. So if you are clear on this part, then we can move. Okay, we can increase our speed little bit. Okay. So if you have any kind of doubt, you can ask me, no problem, even in between. So now we say that to develop a software, we have a life cycle. Okay, this is the life cycle. Now we have different types of life cycles. Okay, we have different types of life cycle to develop the application. To develop the application. The first one is waterfall model. Waterfall model. Second is iterative SDLC model. Iterative SDLC model. Third one is V model. Fourth one is V&V model. Fifth one is spiral. Sixth is prototype. Next, agile. So you have a lot of other things also, other SDLC models like this. Some of the training center or some of the companies say that we are using hybrid SDLC model. Don't worry about that. It will be a combination of two SDLC model. Some of what they'll do is they'll pick some activities from this, they'll pick some activities from this, and then they call it as hybrid SDLC model. But most of the 90% of the company, they will not use hybrid, they will use typical. Okay, they are going to use either one, any one of these SDLC model. So why do we require these? Why these many SDLCs are there? Okay, you might have this question. Sir, when you say that we have already SDLC model, but why do we need these different types of SDLC models? Okay, the question comes. This actually is an evolution. Okay, this is an evolution. What is the meaning of this? See, 35 years back, right? Maybe in late 80s up to 1995, most of the softwares which were developed were very, very simple, like billing software, calendar. Okay, there were a lot of small CRMs were there, small ERPs were there. Okay, so I'll tell you what is CRM and ERP later. But overall, what should be the understanding is, till 1995, there were small applications and the simple applications which were developed. And the communication those days was very slow. We had only two things. One is telegram, okay, and second is phone. Okay, we had only two things. Okay, and there were, to make an international call, it was very expensive. So that's why what the client used to do is, the client used to give requirement at one shot. Okay, and the software company used to develop all the requirement at one shot. So that's why what happened is they used to follow waterfall model. They used to follow waterfall model. I'll tell you in detail about these SDLC model later, tomorrow. But let's understand what are the different, why these different types of SDLC. Now, after 1995, what happened? They started developing little bit complex applications. Okay, little bit complex applications like the banking. Okay, so banking at the admin level, that means only the employee started using banking applications. So it became a little bit complex. So the client started giving the requirement multiple times. Say an example, the project duration is 2 years. Like it has started in 1999. Okay, and it is for 2 years. That is, it will end in 2001. So what the client used to do is, the client used to give the requirement in 4 or 5 different phases. One in January 1999, and after that June 1999, like that. Okay, and after that again January 2000, and January 2000. So in this way, they started giving the requirements in small pieces. Sorry. Okay, and we used to call, I mean, then the experts made one more SDLC model, and we call it as iterative SDLC model. So the same way we have V model. Okay, we also have VNV model, we have spiral model, we have prototype, we have agile. Okay, so these are the different types of SDLC model that we are following, or we followed in the market. And right now the most popular SDLC model is agile. Every company is using agile SDLC model. If you know agile, then most of the company will hire you. Fine. If you say that, sir, I have worked or I have a knowledge in agile, okay, so people will tell you, come for the interview, let's have a discussion. So that's the demand of agile right now in the market. Okay, so what you need to do is, you need to become perfect on all these SDLC model. Got it? Fine. So do you have any doubts on this?
No.
All right. So you have understood, right? Different types of festivals. Just names we have discussed. We have not discussed in detail. Fine. We will have this discussion. I mean, I'll start waterfall model tomorrow. Okay. Tomorrow we'll start. So from tomorrow onwards, I'll go a little bit speed. Okay. If you are, if you have any doubts or this one, you can stop me in between and clarify. Okay. Okay then. So I will continue tomorrow. I'll be taking the class tomorrow. Okay. So if you have anything, let me know. Don't hesitate. Okay. You can message me, not a problem. Huh?
Yeah.
All right. ठीक है then. Good night. Okay.